Oh, what's going on, guys? It's Troydan here. And today, we're going to be looking at the top 10 most hated men in the history of the NBA. I know some people we're definitely going to see here. When we're talking about hated, we're talking Dwight Howard. We're talking Andrew Bogut. They're definitely going to be on here. I'm not exactly sure who else. I'm sure we'll see some great players because people love to hate on greats. It happens all the time. But not with Dwight and Andrew. They suck. Both of them. I hate them. Guys, link in the description below. Make sure to sub 40 times. 3, 2, 1. First time watching, go.
Basketball and sports in general give athletes a platform.
KD might be here. Kevin Durant.
However, with huge popularity,
don't you dare. If you put Kobe here, I swear to God. You don't do
there's
that.
also a large number of haters. It just comes with the territory.
That is
there are
true.
various reasons why some players are hated more than others.
Alien.
Whether it's
He's
their
a hate because he's an
tenacity,
alien.
big mouth, basketball rivalry, or moving to a different
Wait,
team.
hold on. I just thought of some other people that are going to be here. Donkey Green's going to be here and Paul Pierce.
10 most hated NBA players
And
of
Dennis
all
Rodman.
time.
And Men of World Peace. Okay, I looked at
LeBron James.
What?
It doesn't matter that LeBron James is one of the best athletes who ever walked this planet in general. It doesn't matter that he is an avid fighter for human rights and that he has donated millions to those in need. LeBron is one of the most hated NBA players ever, even today after his
And that's why, the Miami beat.
3 rings and a Mount Rushmore career. His biggest flaw was that he estimated that his Cleveland Cavaliers were not constructed to win an NBA championship and decided to switch teams and take his talents to South Beach. No free agency decision in sports history rocked the world.
I remember this like it
that
was
press
yesterday.
Conference with LeBron James, who immediately went from NBA's sweetheart to its #1 villain. He didn't
Oh
help
my
himself
God,
with
I
that
remember that.
not 1, not 2,
Oh,
not
I
3
hated this so
homecoming in
much.
Miami, which I'm sure
This is what started the personal hate between me and LeBron James. Even though I've forgiven him, we are on good terms now, but we were not. We were in a rocky relationship. We were complicated.
like to take back if he could. His first game back in Cleveland can be pictured in the dictionary.
Liar, baby
next to the
jerk.
term hostile environment.
Liar,
After he lost
baby
to the Mavs
jerk.
in the finals, many people celebrated and called him all kinds of names and insults.
I've never
there are many
seen
people
that.
who have built their careers by hating on LeBron, and that's okay. More power to him. One of the best James characteristics is that he doesn't acknowledge haters and always holds a high ground. LeBron lived
That's
through
what you do,
enormous
man.
expectations ever since he was young, and he exceeded them, both on and off the court. It's fascinating that the worst thing you can say about the man who lived in the spotlight since
He was on the
16
Celtics?
years old is that he had one questionable press conference, and then he played one bad playoff series in 2011. Kevin
Yeah.
Durant. 6 years after
Okay,
LeBron
we knew. I should have said KD. KD, of course. You know he's the snake. The snake
decision on
thing.
ESPN. Kevin Durant's next chapter on Players Tribune yielded a similar backlash. Durant's free agency was one of the most expected in recent NBA history, given the fact he is a generational player whose presence on the court instantly makes almost
Woo!
any team a
Look at that.
contender. After he bolted from Oklahoma City for Golden State, a team that has defeated him in the playoffs and who had won 73 games without him, Durant caused maybe the biggest jersey bonfire in the history of sports. He was called soft, a snake, a cupcake, and those were some of the less derogatory names. But it was not just fans who felt betrayed. Many former NBA players and analysts felt that joining 3 All-Stars to win a championship is a bad move on many different levels. In
Deadass, who cares about what an analyst thinks when it has to do with that? Who cares? Who cares if he disrespected an analyst?
retrospect,
What?
4 years after, whatever you may think about it,
Who
Kevin
cares?
Durant made the right choice. The Golden State Warriors needed him to win more
Nah,
championships,
man.
and likely wouldn't get past Cleveland in 2017 and Houston in 2018 without KD. Bill Lambert. Fouls after
Okay.
the ref's whistle.
Bill Lambert?
Tripping, punching, elbowing, setting illegal screens, and always playing on the edge of an incident.
I heard about this
All of
dude.
these were tactics of the Detroit Pistons from the late 80s.
This guy was a scrappy
Bill
white
Lambert
dude.
as their spiritual leader. Lambert is one of the most universally
Oh,
hated
shoot.
players in NBA history due to his physical play that borderlines a wrestling match. Larry
Ew.
Bird said that he didn't hate anybody in
Larry
the NBA
Legend.
other than Bill Lambert, and he called him a dirty player. When Robert Parrish,
Larry.
who was usually very calm and collected, took a swing at Lambert in the 1986
Whoa,
playoffs,
whoa,
before
whoa.
Arena cheered him on.
What
Bill
the
was
hell?
one of the biggest provocateurs that ever
Dude.
played in the NBA. Flopping was his middle name, and he would often start a fight and then act like he's in tremendous pain in front of a ref when somebody hit him back. Even though he was a
Classic.
pretty good player, a center who could shoot threes 30 years before it was cool, and a 4-time All-Star, Lambert's highlight reel is often filled with his non-basketball plays.
Yeah.
Lambert doesn't care. He did what he thought he had to do.
Dude, imagine Bill Lambert in like today's NBA. How would he do? I don't think he would do so well because you can't really even touch someone. You can't even blow on the wrong way or the refs call it.
He was a crucial part of 2 championship teams. Nobody can say that he's soft. and even though they hate him everywhere else, he'll forever be loved in Detroit. Isaiah Thomas. Lambert was the enforcer for the Pistons, and Isaiah was the brain and heart of the team.
People didn't like Isaiah?
Lambert was Luca Brasi. Isaiah was Vito Corleone, and the team was running on his beat, both in basketball and in non-basketball plays. You'd never think anyone could hate this 6'1"
That's a nice jacket,
player
man.
with
Is
an
that
infectious
mink?
smile. But there was something about Isaiah that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Jordan hates Isaiah even today, mostly because the Pistons refused to shake hands with the Bulls at the end of their conference finals in 1991.
I did not know that, Macau.
Pippen shares
What
the
the
same
hell?
emotions towards Isaiah.
Is that
And
Lenny
so did
Kravitz?
Charles Oakley and Karl Malone. Who tried to
Molester!
decapitate him in December of 1991.
Carl, he
after
better
which
be here,
Isaiah
too.
needed 40 stitches to repair the damage to his face. Magic Johnson and Isaiah were best friends in the 80s. But since the early 90s, they weren't on speaking terms, and their beef lasted for more than 2 decades. Isaiah collected enemies even after his playing days. He did a terrible job as a GM of the Knicks, which led to years of misery for New York fans, which could be the only fan base that hates Thomas more than they hate him in Boston. Isaiah was definitely a great
Interesting.
champion, and one of the best point guards who ever played. He would do whatever it took to win.
He's up
legal
there with
or
Lonzo.
illegal, which unfortunately didn't win him a lot of popularity points.
I
Ron
didn't
Artest.
Ron Artest? Ron Artest unfollowed me on Twitter, so I don't know where I feel with him. I didn't know so many people hated Isaiah.
Ron Artest, Meta World Peace, or Panda's friend. However you want to call
What
him.
did they do,
He's one of
Ron?
the most physical NBA players ever.
Was it the
both in a good
memes?
and not so good way. In 2004, Artest
was the
became the
memes,
Defensive
wasn't
Player
he?
of the Year, and he shined on the Pacers with his gritty approach to the game. In 2005,
Oh,
he
there's
received
classic
the biggest
Ron.
suspension ever handed by the NBA for his
Get him,
involvement
Ronnie.
at the infamous Malice at the Palace.
I love
And he
that.
fought with several fans.
I know,
deep in the
they
stands.
earned it. They
In
earned a
2012, He
smackdown.
nearly took James
I remember
Harden's
watching
head off
these.
his shoulders with an elbow shot worthy of an MMA highlight.
That was so
Aside from
unnecessary.
these notable fights, Artest had various other on-court scuffles and arguments with opposing players and referees throughout his career. He's now called Meta Sandiford Artest,
He's the player you want on your team.
and is a much
And not
more
that
lovable
you don't
and
wanna
chill
play
dude
against him.
who realized he made mistakes during his playing days. Quiet Storm, the Ron Artest story, is a documentary about his life, which premiered last year, and we recommend watching it, especially if you want to get a more in-depth look at what happened at Malice at the Palace. Kevin Garnett.
KG?
Kevin Garnett is one of the best power
Where's
forwards who
Dwight?
ever played basketball, and is probably the most intense man that ever played it.
This guy
Even
made
though
Big Baby
everybody
cry.
respected him for his love of the sport and the intensity he brought to every practice and every game. He wasn't liked around the league all that much. Garnett was known for his foul mouth, and his no-limit trash talk made him hated by many players and fans.
We
Yep.
did a thing with KG. Remember that? And you remember when we did? It was a 2K19. I think it was maybe in 20, where we played with him and Paul George, and KG was talking nothing but shit, absolute shit. You didn't know how to hold the controller straight.
And crossed the
It was.
line
It
with
was.
his
I was so
statements.
intimidated.
Insulting Carmelo Anthony's wife, calling Charlie Villanueva a cancer patient, trash talking
What?
Tim
You said that? You called him Caillou? You can't do that.
Duncan on Mother's Day because he knew his mother had died were just some of the most famous ones.
What?
KG was especially rude to rookies, who were his most frequent prey. Joakim Noah said that he was the biggest Garnett fan, and when they played for the first time, he approached Garnett and told him he was his idol. Garnett's response was plain and simple. He told Noah to F off. Which gives you a pretty good description of who KG was between the lines. Kobe Bryant.
What?
Kobe is one of the most universally loved and respected players in basketball history, if not the most. He'll forever be missed, and we truly lost a great man with an unbreakable spirit. However, during his playing days, Kobe was hated and booed in almost every NBA arena
They boo
outside
greatness,
of LA
man.
because he tormented their teams over the years.
Facts.
Opposing crowds loved to hate on Kobe, and at one point, especially
Didn't
during the
work.
mid-2000s, Bryant was considered as the #1 NBA villain. The fans disliked that Kobe played hero ball all the time, and that he didn't pass the ball to his teammates.
Oh, shut your darn mouth, okay? Did you see his team? Who are you gonna pass to? Sasha Voyachik? Kwame Brown? Smush Park? Who?
For Shaq leaving
Yeah,
LA
of course you're
for his
holding that
brash
ball.
antics on the court. And his highly publicized court case didn't endear him to anybody either.
That was
then there
bullshit.
were teammates like Smush Parker, who criticized Kobe for being too cruel, and opposing players who thought Kobe was dirty because he would do every trick in the book to gain an advantage, and it was a nightmare to guard him.
Yep.
Kobe was also very distant at times, but that all changed near the end of his career, where he opened up more and let everybody know that he was actually a kind and loving guy. It's just that his competitiveness didn't allow him to show it more. Draymond Green.
Donkey!
Draymond Green is one of my favorite NBA players, even though he can be annoying as hell at times. He often acts like he never made a foul in his life, and I'm not a fan of him constantly talking to the refs during games. Other than that, I think what Draymond does for his team is fantastic, and I like players who stir controversy in this new lukewarm era of NBA beefs. Draymond plays basketball with a lot of emotion, and he's one of the most intelligent players we have in the NBA today. He's also extremely competitive, and he's not afraid to push people's buttons and says everything that's on his mind. Of course, that doesn't sit well with everybody, and many NBA fans and opposing players think Draymond talks too much, and that's why he's one of the most polarizing players in the league today. Dwight Howard.
Yes!
Like LeBron.
Fuck you, bitch! God, I hate you! Yes!
And KD. Dwight Howard was universally loved at the beginning of his NBA journey, which completely changed in recent years, as Dwight managed to piss off the players and fan bases of almost every team he played for. It all started well in Orlando, where Dwight was drafted #1 overall in 2004. Howard became the best center in the league. His dunks were the main attraction at the All-Star Games.
Yeah, he was good. He was good. He was.
That nearly won the title in 2009. After that, it all went downhill.
He had a back injury.
He got Stan Van Gundy fired in Orlando and forced to trade to LA. After a disappointing season and constant fights with his teammates, especially Kobe, Dwight fled to Houston. There he had a feud with James Harden, and it was a trend that continued everywhere he went. After he was 1 foot out of the league,
he got carried to a ring. Unreal.
He needs to change his behavior and approach to the game, and has thankfully resurrected his career with the Lakers and gained the respect he lost around the league.
What? No, he didn't.
Spree is one of the most entertaining NBA players ever, both on and off the court, and both positively and negatively. He started his career as one of the premier wing players in the 90s, and had made the All-Star team 4 times. Then the troubles began. He began fighting in games and practices. His most famous incident stemmed from the 1997 season, when he choked out his coach PJ Carlesimo, after which he was always looked at sideways from NBA fans and some of his peers.
What an idiot.
His legendary rejection of the $21 million contract with the explanation that it's not enough money and that he has to feed his children.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Hasn't won him many fans, and he never played in the league after that.
That's
some
hilarious.
Other highly hated players.
He turned down like it was $21 million because there wasn't enough money, and then no one else would pay him, and his career's ended. So GG in the chat for Latrell Spree.
Reggie Miller, who loved being the villain in every arena. Vince Carter in the era of his gruesome departure from Toronto.
Are these honorable mentions?
Christian Laettner, because
where's Bogut?
Christian Laettner, and everybody hated him since his days.
Andrew Bogut. Kind of strange that Andrew Bogut wasn't on here, but yeah, maybe he's not relevant enough. Regardless, most hated players. Yeah, I mean, I guess they nailed the big ones. I mean, the great players get hated. It is Kobe. As much as I don't want to say it, he was hated at one point. He's torching every team. Of course you're going to hate him. If you're not with him, you hate him. That's how things work. Regardless, I'm glad Dwight's here. Very good. Guys, if you got a video like for me to watch or react to, you can tweet me at Troydan under the hashtag TroydanReacts. Thank you for watching, and kids, stay out of trouble.